Today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. Welcome to Victims and Villains. If you guys are new to our content, we are a non-profit that creates content like what you are watching right now, simply to educate and engage individuals like yourself on mental health awareness and suicide prevention. My name is Capt Nostalgia. I have the privilege of being one of the writers and podcasters here, among many other hats that I wear, and I'm super excited to talk about some horror with you guys. Before I even start talking about this movie, I will place the same disclaimer here that I placed in our Dune review. I absolutely have no frame of reference for any of the video games. I have only ever seen the very first movie. That said, I'm going to preface this by saying that I have absolutely no connection. I'm about as green and naive as you can get when it comes to entering into a franchise. And I might be one of the perfect people to talk about this movie from a completely non-biased lens. This rebooted version of Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, tells the story of a brother and sister who basically separate, and sister comes back to brother, and when she hears that there is gossip that her hometown, which was fostered and built and run by the evil Umbrella Corporation, run by Neil McDowell from Arrow and Walking Tall and Paul Blart Mall Cop Part 2, among other venomous things, they basically ended up turning an entire town into zombies, among driving them into poverty. I think that's about right. There's a lot that happens in this movie. And when I say a lot, there are essentially at one point, there are 3 separate plots that are running parallel towards each other. And it's not hard to really keep up with these things. It's not a complaint. It's just saying that, like, when you're trying to condense the plot of this movie without getting into spoilers, it's a little hard. That said, I actually really liked the fact that there were 3 parallel arcs running at the same time. You had Wesker, who is a Raccoon City Police Department, and he's basically kind of, on his own mysterious mission as they're investigating this call. Then you have the brother, played by Robbie Amell, who, another cop, and he's kind of also investigating and trying to get to the bottom of it. And then you have this sister, Claire, who is a complete conspiracy theorist and is kind of like trying to like get everyone out of this town because she knows something that they don't necessarily know. And that said, I don't know a whole lot about the video games. I don't know really what kind of horror they are. I'm guessing these are zombies. And I specifically say that from reference to this movie because the monsters, the undead, as I like to call them, these guys are zombies. They gotta be. These guys look like they walked right out of a George A. Romero movie. And I truly, truly love that fact. I think that's one of the shining things that this movie has going for it, is the fact that it actually feels like a throwback to one of Romero's films. The blue tint to the skin, the shiny red blood, the undead eyes, the movement, it feels very nostalgic. And the fact that this takes place in the 90s, at the height of Resident Evil's success, just kind of really goes to show that they were looking to make something that was completely different than anything that has come before it. Quite honestly, I really love that because this film feels very grounded, but it also at the same time, it feels like it carries on remnants of Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead. Like, it feels a lot like those movies. When it comes to the acting is just okay. Typically, when you find actors that you know from television and they're making a they're making a movie on the big screen. It's not always it's always going to be kind of hit or miss. A lot of these actors have spent time on the CW. I'm not the biggest fan of the CW. It's not for me. It's not my cup of tea. And a large portion of why it's not my cup of tea is because of the acting and the writing. And the acting in Raccoon City, it's not great. It's not bad. It's just kind of middle of the line. It's decent. It's enough to kind of turn your brain off to. This is a movie that you're just going to watch and absolutely just have an absolute blast with. And the acting kind of goes along with that experience of just pure fun. Like, there's not really any performance that truly stands out in here. I could talk to standouts, though, being the makeup effects, the practical effects in this are just absolutely amazing. The pacing in this is really well done. Like I said, this film is really fun. It's even from like the very beginning, it is filled with creepy imagery, and it just has an eerie edge that just never quits. And when you're only like 2 or 3 minutes into a movie and you're already seeing something like really creepy, and then you get like 5 minutes past that moment and you're getting more creepy, this film does creepy really well. It's very immersive. It really is atmospheric. It really sucks you in and pulls you in and brings you into this world. And what I truly loved about this is that some reboots will go a little bit too detailed heavy. For someone that is outside of the franchise and outside of the fandom, I really appreciated the way that they would explain things and kind of really made this world feel like ground zero. And I think that's one of the things this movie does really well. I will say, though, however, there are portions of the explanation scenes or the narrative that I was just really bored by. These are kind of the lulls in it, and when I say that these are the laws, like the transitions between past and present is really awkward. Sometimes it just feels unnecessary and unwarranted, and there's just no smoothness there. It's really, really just kind of clunky. So I'm going to put this through our Rorschach rating scale before we go ahead and get into our mental health moment for Raccoon City, and I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 3.5. It's not the greatest. It's definitely a stronger video game adaptation that we've seen, and it does horror really well. Acting's kind of middle of the line, but it's just a fun time. And our mental health moment is actually going to come from the character of Claire. If you guys are new to our content, mental health moment is where we take a theme of mental health or something encouraging from the film and expound upon it for just a few minutes to encourage you, the viewer, to reach out if you're struggling with depression or suicide. So Claire is sisters with Robbie Amell's character Chris, and very early in the film it's revealed that they are both orphans. When we find her as an adult, she's coming back to Raccoon City because she's a conspiracy theorist who's heard that Umbrella is basically planning to level the entire city, and she is just trying to come get her brother, and not only that, but also get him to believe her. And there's something to be said about the search for validation. I think it's also safe to say that a lot of us struggle and a lot of us have gone on that journey. And sometimes that journey, if we're not receiving the validation that we're seeking, we can often find ourselves knocking at the doorstep of depression, addiction, anxiety, or even worse, suicide. And so to anyone that is watching this right now, I just want to validate you and your existence. Thank you for being here. Thank you for existing, and thank you for making the world a better place. Even if it doesn't feel like you're making an impact, I promise you that your life has value and meaning to those that love you and care about you. I just want to throw this out there that if you're watching this and you need to talk to someone, consider the resources in our descriptions below, or if you guys are watching this on IGTV, the link's in the bio, and we have a mental health resource library that we would love for you to check out. Please stay with us. Just know that you have value. And so, for Raccoon City, that's gonna do it for us on this video. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I've never seen any of the original, and if I get 5 comments on this video telling me that you guys want to see my thoughts on the rise and fall of the original series, I will cover them, all 6 of them, right here. But you gotta comment and make sure that you guys subscribe, and please check out our mental health resource library. Let me know what you guys thought about Welcome to Raccoon City, and if I don't see from you, I'll hear from you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.